Hey everyone, well I'm here in the laundry room today, and today we're going to do a little experiment, alright? So, as many of you know, when it comes to many appliances, I've preferred the mechanical controls over the electronic controls. And I have many reasons for that, and they're covered in many of my previous videos. Now, one of the reasons why I don't know if I've covered before in the past, but if I have, I never really talked about heavily, was with the mechanical controls, let's say your house loses power, okay? Now, the machine is going to stop exactly where it is. And the biggest plus to that is, since the timers are simply paused right where they are, the machine is legit paused right there. So what I mean is, when the power to your house comes back on, okay, the machine's going to continue exactly where it left off, okay? There may be some exceptions where I know on dryers you have to hit a push to start button, or maybe you shut off the timer knob while your power was out because you didn't want the power coming right back on as soon as house power was restored. But in both cases, with the mechanically controlled appliance, as soon as the power comes back on, the machine is going, and you have the machine on, the machine is going to continue exactly where it left off. On many electronically controlled appliances, that's not the case. Like I'm sure on many of the LGs and Samsungs, once that machine loses power, guess what? It forgets completely where it was. Even if you just turn it off, it loses where it was. So now you have a tub full of water with clothing, and you turn it back on, it has to start all the way from the beginning. Doesn't at all remember where it was, and it can be a huge hassle sometimes, okay? So for this video, we're going to test the Speed Queen electronics, okay? And we're going to see how they do in a power failure. I'm going to simulate one once we start things up. What we're going to do here is, I have a load of bed sheets to wash, okay? And then I figure this would be a good time to try this experiment, have something actually washing and not just running with nothing, and see how it would be. So what we're going to do is, we're going to get this machine going, okay? You know, we're going to set it up to how we want it to be, and then run it, and then midway through, I'll simulate a power failure, and we'll see how the machine does from there. Okay, I purged the hot water line with the sink over there, and let's get this going. Just, you know, turn it on. Should be on the settings I last had to that. Yep, that's all correct, and we'll start it going. Okay, so one thing I'm going to do with this is, currently filling right now, as you can see. What I'm going to do is, once it starts agitating, I'll show the time, and then I'll also show the time where I'm going to stop it at, and then just to prove to you that I'm stopping it, and let me rephrase that. Just to prove to you I'm stopping and restarting at different times, I'm going to use my phone. I'll show the clock on there just to show you that we did indeed wait some time between simulating the power failure and restarting it, okay? So we'll let this fill and agitate, and we'll be back in a bit. Alright guys, the machine is currently agitating. It currently reads about 32 minutes left, okay? So, you can see it's washing the bed sheets right there. Okay, so like I said, what we're going to do is, we're going to let this agitate for like a couple to a few minutes, then we're going to see how much time is left, we're going to unplug it, and leave it unplugged for a few minutes just to give it a fair test, and then we're going to see how it all turns out once we plug it back in. Okay guys, so we just reached 29 minutes, and as you can see it's still going. So we're going to do the simulation right here. We're going to unplug the machine right here. Okay, unplug the machine right there. So now we're simulating that the house has just lost power, okay? So, and the time let me just find a place to put this cord. Okay. The time I currently stopped this machine was, let's see, 3:23 p.m. You see that? 3:23 p.m. So we're going to wait a little bit, wait a few minutes, and then we're going to come back, plug it back in, and we're going to see how it's going to do. In fact, just to give you a little bit more proof, I'll show you a couple more clocks. There's the wall clock up there on the kitchen, and the one on the oven, okay? So we're going to come back in a few minutes, and we're going to see how it did. So it's been about 8 or 9 minutes about. Same thing with the oven there. Can you see? There you go. Okay. And we'll go back to my phone, just to prove. Let's see, there it is, 3:31, and the same date. Okay. So bed sheets are still in there. All right. So let's plug the machine back in, and we will see what the control panel will do. Okay. Look at that. The machine, it says ST because that means stopped, okay? Look at that. Same settings as before on the wash light, and it still says 29 minutes remaining. So if I hit start, look at that. Continues right where it left off after not having power for just about 10 minutes. Exactly where I left it before. Just to show. See? Bed sheets are agitating once again. Or being agitated, I should say. So hey, so isn't that awesome? So this machine had no power for almost 10 minutes. I plugged it back in, and it went exactly where it last was. That is incredible for an electronically controlled machine. The only difference is on this machine, since there's no timer knob, we just have to come over here and manually hit start to get it going again. But to be fair, on some dryers with mechanical controls, you have to do that as well. So I guess the only time it won't restart is if you're, let's say, you're not home and the power goes out. But you know, I don't run the washer when no one's home, so it's like the chances of that being a problem are like next to nothing. But that was amazing. So yeah, since went down to 28. So the electronics of this Speed Queen washer will remember the cycle after a power failure. Absolutely awesome test. But let's cover both our bases here, okay? So the washer just finished, and as you can see, I have the bed sheets in there now with a dryer sheet and everything, okay? So we saw how the washer does, but let's see how the dryer does as well, because I'm sure some people may ask about, well, what about the dryer? So we're going to cover that here too, all right? So let's get it going. Set it up for how I do bed sheets. Where is it? That's a weird setting. Let's see, I do bed sheets on low, and put this down to like 45 minutes is enough. All right, so then we'll just get it going. Alright, and then, so just like before, we're going to let this count down a few minutes, and then we're going to unplug the machine, and then wait a few minutes after that, and see how it does from there. Alright guys, so we just got up down to 40 minutes rather, and so we are right now. So we're going to do the same thing as before with the washer. We're going to unplug the dryer. Okay. And then we're going to wait a few minutes once again, and then we're going to plug it back in when the time comes. Now just to give you proof again, my phone currently says 4:09. See if it'll focus. There you go. Okay. And the other clocks too. Same thing over there. And over here. These are a little bit behind my phone, but pretty much the same difference, alright? Okay, so we'll come back in a few minutes and we'll see how the dryer does when it's plugged back in. So according to the clocks, it's been pretty much about 10 minutes. You can see it's 4:17 on the oven now. And we'll just check my phone once more. Yep, 4:19, as you can see. Alright. So, this was stopped at 40 minutes, so we're going to plug this back in. Let's see how this does. There we go. Check that out. Looks very similar, doesn't it? Same settings, 40 minutes, and ST currently for stopped. So if I hit start, look at that, guys. Absolutely amazing. It was off, it had no power whatsoever for 10 minutes, and it remembered exactly where it was. Absolutely awesome. Now, to be fair, obviously dryers cycling isn't as complex as washers, because like, you know, washers have to drain, fill, agitate, all that stuff. But the dryer just tumbles the clothes and maintains a certain temperature to dry the clothing. And so, but still, even with all that, regardless, the Speed Queen designed this in some way where it keeps the memory of the cycle even with no power applied. So they really thought this through when they designed these. Very, very smart going on their part. So I gotta hand it to them. As much as mechanical controls are still my favorite, Speed Queen really knew what they were doing when they designed this machine, and I couldn't be happier. And it just went down to 39 minutes, as you can see. So there you have it, guys. The Speed Queen machines will actually remember what part of the cycle you were at when power goes out. And then when power comes back on, all you have to do is walk in here, hit the start button, and then you're all set. great designing on their part, and very, very good engineering. Washes off now, I'm just showing it to you. Great job on their part, and like I said, good engineering. Alright, there you have it, guys. So the Speed Queens are definitely a winner in this regard, and many other regards too. So very happy with them. So as usual, thank you very much for watching, and take care.